You are Locked On Syracuse, your daily podcast on the Syracuse Orange. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Let's begin this podcast by talking about the three players on offense that I think have a chance to break out for Syracuse football. And leading us off, Savion Washington, 6'8", 340-pound tackle, a three-star transfer from Colorado. Now, why do I think he can break out for Syracuse football? After all, this is a veteran in college football, and he was only really a three-star transfer. Well, you can already see the fact that he was a three-star transfer, the potential is there, right? He's not highly regarded right now across the country, but sneakily, he's a pretty good tackle. Last year, he had a Pro Football Focus grade of 65.4, which is pretty good. And he did it at Colorado, which plays in at the time was a Power 5 conference, but is now Power 4 conference. But you get the idea. He's played against solid competition, and he fared pretty well last year at Colorado. Now he's likely to start for Syracuse this upcoming season, and given his size and the fact that he was actually pretty good last year, I think there's a chance he can break out and be one of the better tackles in the ACC for next season. It's why I listed him on yesterday's podcast as a potential All-ACC player, a long shot to make an all-conference team. But nevertheless, he's definitely someone that can break out for Syracuse this upcoming year. Next up, another player who I thought was a long shot to be All-ACC. That is wide receiver Zeed Haynes. He is 6'1", 170 pounds. He is a three-star transfer from Georgia, and the sky is the limit for this kid. He's a former four-star prospect who last year with the Bulldogs, he redshirted, only had one catch. I believe it only went for 20 yards. That was his whole stat line. So the potential for Zeed Haynes is certainly there, given his pedigree as a high school recruit, the fact that he was actually one of the better three-star transfers in the country. And at the spring game, he looked really good. He looked like the wide receiver one for Syracuse at the spring game. Now, I know Jackson Meeks wasn't healthy and Oronde Gadsden wasn't playing, but could Zeed Haynes be a breakout candidate? I think so, because Oronde Gadsden's not a breakout candidate. We know he's really good. And Jackson Meeks, well, he's a veteran player who's been in college for a long time. Why not go with the younger kid in Zeed Haynes as a potential breakout? And in that spring game, he had 6 catches, 74 yards, and a touchdown. His speed is his best attribute, and I'm really looking forward to watching it for next season. And for what it's worth, he is tied for 17th in the ACC to lead the conference in receiving yards for this upcoming season. I believe it's 40-1 on Bet Online. That's where I found it. I saw it yesterday. Zeed Haynes tied for 17th. So there's potential for him to break out in a big way for this team for this upcoming season. Once again, he could easily be the wide receiver number one, not including Oronde Gadsden. And number 3, we're going to go with a true freshman. There might be a few true freshmen that I mentioned on this list. Yasin Willis, the running back. 6'1", 225 pounds from New Jersey, a 3-star recruit who was originally committed to Pitt, but then flipped in favor of Syracuse. And he also had a terrific spring game, 11 carries for over 90 yards and a touchdown. I've said this before when previewing the running backs for this team. What stands out about Yasin Willis is the size. He doesn't just have college football size, he has NFL size. 6'1", 225 pounds, which is nearly a BMI of 30, which would be really good just for the NFL, let alone college, where you can be smaller and still be highly, highly effective because, well, college and pros, there's a huge difference. Yasin Willis, I think, is going to see the field a good bit in his true freshman season. Now, he's kind of more of a long shot breakout candidate for this upcoming year because LeQuint Allen is the established starter on the team. And I don't wish anything upon LeQuint Allen. I hope he stays healthy for the whole year. And if he is healthy for the whole year, then it's going to impact Yasin Willis's ability to get the touches necessary to break out. But it's certainly a name to keep in mind because he has the size, and I can easily see him having a good bit of rushing touchdowns because he could easily be a goal line back. Day one, he can at minimum be a goal line back for this team, but you never know. He is definitely a breakout candidate right away for this offense, and we've seen true freshmen break out recently at the running back position at Syracuse. Sean Tucker, ring a bell in 2020? He wasn't the starter right away, but gradually his role increased to where by the end of the season, he was the starter. And he essentially broke out in his true freshman season and then had another huge jump in his true sophomore season. So that could be a similar thing with Yasin Willis, maybe, although LeQuint Allen is the established starter there right now. But I really like this kid, Yasin Willis, mainly his size and his ability to be a goal line back, at least for the moment. So the three players on offense who I think could really break out for this team for this upcoming season: the offensive tackle, Savion Washington from Colorado, who had a pretty good year last year, but maybe he takes an even bigger jump this upcoming season. Zeed Haynes, the wide receiver from Georgia, who was once a four-star prospect, redshirted last year, comes over to Syracuse. He might just be the wide receiver one for this team. And then we just talked about him, Yasin Willis. Now, I know that LeQuint Allen is the unquestioned starter on the team, but 6'1", 225 pounds. He certainly has the size to play in college football right away, so I would not be shocked if he has a big year, and we just hope that LeQuint Allen stays healthy, right? But if he doesn't, then maybe Yasin Willis can have a huge year for this team. So those are the offensive breakouts for Syracuse football this upcoming season. Leave a comment below. Who else do you think could break out on the offensive end for Syracuse football this upcoming year?